All right, we are in the building. What's up, you guys, man? Let me go on and get this closer. See who I am talking to as you come on. I think I enabled the chat today. It's so funny. I love my mama so much. She sent me a message. She sent me a message a little bit earlier today, and she said she was watching yesterday's episode on basically the 8 fundamentals for starting to build wealth. And she said, "Baby, we're not able to chat with you on here, and you need to change the chat feature, and you need to change this, and you need to change this." And she was telling me I would get more engagement if I did like two or three things. So I text her back. I'll even show you. What did I say to her? She says, literally verbatim, this is what my mom says. Look, right here. She says, "I'm watching your YouTube video from a day ago. You need to turn on the comment section. Right now it's off, disabled for children. Also turn your notifications on. It's also disabled for children. I am watching 8 steps to building wealth." And I said, love it. Thank you. I'm about to go live right now. I will fix it. So let me fix my lighting really fast. Get this mug a little bit closer so you guys can see me a little bit better. But I'm excited to be here, you guys. If this is your first time hanging out with me, my name is Jamil Frazier. I have built an 8-figure coaching organization, and my wife and I have been building that organization since 2012. It has taught me so many lessons. I have learned to become a much, much bigger person. I've learned to become a leader. I've learned a tremendous amount of skill sets. I learned how to speak. I learned how to coach. I learned how to have empathy. I learned how to lift up others. I learned how to inspire. I've learned how to work hard, work really, really hard. And the one thing that I've learned from helping a lot of entrepreneurs scale their businesses and bring in, really good income for their families is I've learned that even though people can make a lot of money, it doesn't mean that they actually are going to keep that money. And so as I've worked with entrepreneurs the past decade, one thing that's really inspired me is to help them. Well, one thing that's inspired me is to help people level up their finances for real, because I've helped people build businesses that, you guys, were doing $500,000 a month in revenue, and they were able to take home $40,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $60,000 a month of income for themselves and their family. And then guess what most people did, even though they were making really good money? This is why I always say it's not about how much you make, because there's people out there right now that make $3,000 a month that actually have more wealth than some of the people that I've helped scale businesses that are making $30,000 a month. And you'll say, Jamil, how is that possible? It's because most of the time, the more that we make, the more that we spend, and we start to get into really bad habits. And so my idea was why I wanted to start this channel, and I appreciate you guys coming to the difference. The chat should be on, so as you guys start to pile in, be sure to ask questions. That's why I'm here. But my idea over the past year or so, especially as the economy got a little bit more tough, and as some of these mentees of mine, as they started to lose some revenue in their businesses, then I would say, well, turn to your own personal finances. Like, how much do you have put away, and what investments do you have, and what does your portfolios look like? And over and over and over again, what they would tell me is they didn't have any money. And so that's when I knew that I really wanted to launch my own podcast. I wanted to launch this channel here on YouTube, and I wanted to be more of a beacon, more of a light to help people level up, not just in their businesses, not just in their finances, but also in investing. So I'm excited to hang out with you guys. I've sort of made a promise to myself that I'm going to go live every single day whether nobody jumps on or one person jumps on, or hopefully, after a while, we can have thousands of people that's jumping on, really watching this content. And what that tells me is God has given me ability to be able to connect with you and help give you concepts and philosophies and financial philosophies, but do it in an easy way so that you don't feel like, man, this thing is just too hard. Because honestly, that's what I felt like. 10 years ago, that's what I felt like. 10 years ago, I was absolutely broke. Like, and when I say broke, I mean broke, broke. My wife and I were discussing getting divorced. We lived in a 700 square foot apartment. I had one child at that time. You guys are going to get to know my family. Yesterday's live, I had my wife came in here and my youngest son came in here, but I struggled. I was in pharmaceutical sales. I worked for Johnson and Johnson. Actually, in fact, when I really started my journey, I had already I got laid off of that pharmaceutical sales job, and I found another position with a medical equipment company. And I'm be honest with you, those guys paid me more than I've ever been paid before. They paid me $72,000 base salary, plus my commissions and plus my bonuses. So the year that I actually left my job to pursue building my own coaching organization, I actually had made $112, but I was broke. I had no savings, very little savings, maybe $1,000 in savings. I had no investments. I think I had a life insurance policy, but I know I had a life insurance policy. But in terms of mutual funds, stocks, bonds, real estate, anything like that, I absolutely did not have. I was lucky enough to have that life insurance policy, but that was all that I had. And I had a tiny little apartment building. My friends were already starting to buy houses. I felt really inadequate. I felt left behind. I felt embarrassed. I for real felt embarrassed. I was 31 years old, and I, went to school. I played college football, got a football scholarship, graduated towards the top of my class in college, got into pharmaceutical sales, was making what decent money, but I had nothing. And it was frustrating. And I blame my wife a lot for that. I blamed her because I felt like she didn't make enough and she wasn't helping me, and I was stressed out and all the stuff. So, that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I want to talk to you guys, because I was there a decade ago. Let me tell you about what's happened in the past decade. I built a coaching organization. That organization has gone to do over $8 million in revenue. It took me 6.5 years to go from zero to becoming a millionaire. Every year since then, we made at least $1 million. And I've learned a lot during that time period. I've learned that one of the most important things to do is actually stop working for money and let money start working for you. And that's a bar right there. But that really points to investing. So I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I'm just saying what's up to you guys, man. My name is Jamil. I'm excited to be here. Um, I also wrote two best-selling books. So a lot of you guys that have followed me, and do me a favor, I want you to join my email list, because I put out an email, at least an email every single month. But a lot of you guys are on here and you're following me because you've read one of my books. The very first book that I wrote, I think I wrote this book in like 2019, but it's called The Richest Man in Direct Sales. The Richest Man in Direct Sales. And I got that around here somewhere. But The Richest Man in Direct Sales is right here. And it's the first book that I wrote. It's a short books. It basically gives you the 8 foundations that you'll need to start building wealth. I did not write this thinking that I would ever put it out there for the public. What was happening was I was starting to build my organization, I was starting to build my business, and I was starting to learn how to have better financial stewardship. In my family, I come from a family that I was a welfare baby. So my mama, did the best that she could, but my dad wasn't really in the picture. He was in and out of jail. She had a hard, tough upbringing. She was a single mom. It was in the 1980s, and if you guys know anything about the crack epidemic, you know that crack cocaine was running rampant and alcoholism, and so she got caught up with all that, and so we needed the help of the state, and so I grew up on welfare from basically the time I was born all the way to the time I got to college. So every single month we waited for government assistance. So I didn't know the game. There was nobody was there to like teach me in my house how to level up financially. And so as I started building my business, as I started expanding my organization, as I started coaching and mentoring other entrepreneurs, as I started to get into real estate investing and then start lending money and all that stuff, I started like understanding it a little bit. And at the time, my inspiration was my son, Ezra. Now we have four kids, but back then we only had him. And it was really important for me to leave a blueprint for him. So that's why I wrote The Richest Man in Direct Sales, because even if I died, I wanted to give him the roadmap on how the Fraziers, how we were changing and how daddy was changing so fast. So this gives the 7 to 8 core principles on how to level up your finances. Then I came back and I hit the market with another book which sold way more copies, but that book is called The 12 Shifts. So a lot of you guys might know me for launching The 12 Shifts. And The 12 Shifts were when you are broke and then you're able to become a millionaire in 6.5 years, there's a lot of limiting beliefs that are also broken along that journey. That's why today I'm going to spend the majority of the time talking about the mindset of building wealth and becoming a millionaire, because it is very, very, very mental. And so with the 12 shifts, what I talked about, those were the 12 sort of mindset shifts that I had that took me from thinking and believing and seeing the world one way to now thinking and believing and seeing the world with an abundance lens and a millionaire mindset lens. And it happened very, very, very quick. So if you don't have your hands on any of those two books, I encourage you to go get them. They should be in the show notes and all that stuff. Or just shoot me a message, man. I get back to every single person. So if I haven't met you, it's so nice to meet you. Jamil Frazier. I built an 8-figure coaching organization, became a millionaire in 6.5 years. From that, really got into the investing world, became an accredited investor. I've helped thousands of entrepreneurs build and scale their businesses. And now I get to hang out with you and help you level up with your finances. So let's jump into today's topic. So I wanted to talk about, yesterday I talked about the 8 foundations that you need to start building wealth. I'll go through those quickly, but I really want to get into probably what's going to be the most important thing for you, and that is the way that you think. The Bible tells us that as a man or woman thinketh, so shall they be. And there's a great book that's out there that is called The Millionaire Mindset by T. Harv Eker, which is a great book that really helps you start thinking like a millionaire. And if we're on the topic of books, then really check out a book that changed my world, and it's called The Millionaire Next Door. And some of the concepts that I had about millionaires was like, oh, they look like Jay-Z, or they look like Beyonce, or they look like, a NBA player. They look like LeBron James. They look like these people that I see on TV. And what the Millionaire Next Door has done is it went out and it researched and it took polls and basically it studied thousands of everyday millionaires. And what you find is they don't look like the millionaires that we see on Instagram and YouTube and on our TV shows and on the red carpet. Like, they look like normal people. Like, if people looked at me, you wouldn't be able to tell that I'm a millionaire. I wear the same outfit every day. I wear hats. I just kind of do me. Like, my wife drives a minivan. She probably embarrassed for me to say that on here. She's trying to get a new car for real. Um, but even when it comes to new cars, we have principles, and it's a mindset around even getting a new car that I'll talk about. But you wouldn't be able to tell. you wouldn't be able to tell. And that's how the majority of millionaires are. So that just points to a little bit of the mindset. So let's go over the 8 foundations really fast. And then I just want to jump into the mindset of becoming a millionaire. So what the Richest Man in direct sales tells you are these 8 foundations. And foundation number one is the most critical part of this whole thing, because I help people with their finances now. And one of the biggest problems is the mindset. Okay, is the mindset. But I'm gonna circle back to that, and I'm just gonna talk about the foundation. So foundation number one is you have to pay yourself first. The easiest way to do it and to think about this concept is to get 3 piggy banks. Okay, so you got a piggy bank right here, and this piggy bank write savings on. You got a piggy bank right here and write investing on. And you have a piggy bank right here, write tithing or charity on. And whenever you get paid, what you're going to do is take 10% of that paycheck, you're going to put it into the savings piggy bank. You're going to take another 10% of that paycheck, you're going to put it into the investing piggy bank. You're going to take another 10% of that paycheck, and you're going to put it into the tithing or charity or giving away piggy bank. Okay, that's the basics. Like if you just did that, you would probably become a millionaire in like the next 20 years or so. If you just did that foundation, and it doesn't matter how much you get paid. You could you could be on welfare like we were, and let's just say you're making $1,000 a month. It doesn't matter. You're still going to take 10%, put it into savings, 10% in investing, 10% into tithing, which means you only got $700 left over for the month. And we have to figure out how to make that $700 work. I'll talk about that in step number two. You could be making $5,000 a month, and 10% has to go into savings, 10% into investing, 10% into tithing. Okay, so what this means is $500 would go into savings, 500 into investing, 500 into giving away. So we only have $3,500 to live off of for that month, and we have to make that work. You could be getting paid $10,000 a month. It doesn't matter. So $1,000 will go to savings, 1,000 to investing, 1,000 to charity or giving away, which means I can only live off of $7,000 a month, and I have to figure that out. You could be making $20,000 a month. It doesn't matter. $2,000 is going to go to savings, 2,000 to investing, 2,000 into charity or tithing. Okay, so what that means is, was that 246? I can only live off of $14,000 a month. It could be 50,000. You see how it is? It could be 100,000. So the way that my income started scaling was when I left my job. I basically had a little tiny side business here, a little side hustle, and I was only making like $3,000 a month. So my income had fallen from $8,000 a month with my job to now 3,000. So you can imagine why my wife was like really, really upset with me, because now I had a job that was paying me about $8,300 a month. Plus, I had health care and insurance and all that stuff, dental, all that stuff, right? And now I decided I'm going to bet on myself. I'm about to bounce out of that job. And now my little side business was only bringing in like $3,000 a month. I have no medical, I have no dental, I have none of that stuff. So my wife was like freaking out. She was mad. But I took a bet on myself, right? So I went from making 8,000 a month to 3,000 a month. It doesn't matter how much you make, you have to have the foundations, right? Like the foundations still have to be the same. So I went from 3,000 a month, then I started growing, then I went to 8,000 a month, and then I remember I went to 12, then I went to 18, then I went to like 25, then I went to 30, then I went to 50, then I finally hit the $83,333 a month, which I'm gonna talk about today, which means if you do that, if you're making $83,000 a month, you're making $1 million a year. And then I went to 100,000 a month and then scaled above that, right? And I'm not talking revenue. You know, I see a lot of folks that have channels like mine, and they talk about $1 million or $100,000, and what they're talking about is revenue. That is the amount of sales that the company is bringing in. Revenue is wholly different than income that's going into your pocket. So just be careful when you hear these guys talking about money, because a lot of times they'll be talking about, yeah, we made $1 million, but what they're saying is their organization or their company had revenues of $1 million, but they may have only made $100,000 that they actually put into their pocket as income. You see what I'm saying? When I started making $1 million a year, my organization was probably doing $15 million a year in revenue, but I was only making $1 million in income. Does that make sense? So just a little, so just something that you might want to be thinking of. So we have that foundation, which is pay yourself first. So if you're going to pay yourself first, which is the most important principle, one of the most important principles, you're like, well, how do I only live off of 70% of my income? Well, that's where it starts to get tricky. And that's why I'm going to talk about the mindset so much, because if you don't desire to actually clean up your finances, if you don't actually really desire to build wealth, if you don't actually really desire to pay off debt and to pay off credit cards, if you don't actually really desire to become an investor and start putting money away and having that money work for you in many different ways, if you don't desire to live in a different neighborhood or to level up, if you for real don't really desire it, then you're not going to live within your means, which is step number two. Step number two is you have to become lean in your spending. And I promise you, human beings don't like to do that. And it don't matter if they're making $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $10,000 a month, or $20,000 a month. It doesn't matter. Whatever they're making, they almost always raise their level of expenses up to what they're making. Almost always. And then they'll, even if they get a little bit of raise, right? They go from $1,000 a month to 3,000 a month. What they're going to do is they're going to raise their level of expenses to meet the $3,000 a month. It is natural human behavior. It is very, very, very tough, hard to live within your means. We hate it. We hate it. We don't like it. It feels uncomfortable. We see our neighbor have something. We feel like we need to have it. We see a commercial come on. We have these weird little behaviors and addictions to where we're spending money on this that we don't actually have to be or need to be, or but we want to. It's the same reason why 60 to 70% of the American population is overweight or obese right now. It's the same reason why. Because we feel like we we gotta have it. I gotta have the extra food and the extra calories and the extra, I gotta get my hair done, I gotta get my nails done. The kids gotta have this. All these kids are going to these summer camps. My kids gotta go to these summer camps. Like this is just, it's just natural human behavior. And this is why we struggle so much in our finances and building wealth, is because we have to break those natural behaviors, and we have to do a lot of things that are uncomfortable to do, and we don't like doing hard things. Let me ask you, do you like doing hard things? Like, do you like consistently challenging yourself and doing hard things? Most people don't. That's why we usually do the things that is really easy. It's a lot easier to see something that I want to buy, and if I got a credit card, it's a lot easier to psychologically for me to say, let me get that. I'll just worry about how to pay that off later, than to go through the psychological trauma of saying, I can't have that right now, or I choose not to have that, or that's not in my best interest, or that's not in alignment to the financial abundance that, or the life that I want to build. It's very difficult to do. If I put a cream cheese pie right here and I put a salad right here, right? Like, most people are going to choose the freaking pie. Why? Because it's easier to choose the pie than to say, you know what, I want health, I want longevity, I want vitality, I want to be able to play with my kids, I want to be able to grow to a nice, healthy old age, I want to make sure that I got movement and that I have muscles and that I got the proper hydration and sleep. Like all that stuff, that's hard. So it's easier to just say, well, let me just eat this cheesecake and I'll figure it out later. And then we consume way too many calories and consume excess fat and visceral fat. Then we start to have high blood pressure and high cholesterol and type 2 diabetes. And eventually we start to have heart disease. And eventually, from that high blood pressure, we start having strokes. And then we start taking these statin drugs. And then we start looking to Ozempic or Wegovy and all these things, to where really, if we just pulled it back, we had a choice, and it's hard to make the right choice, and it's easier to make the wrong choice. So what happens down the line is obesity. Same thing with our finances, right? We have a choice. I can go through the line at Starbucks and I can get a Starbucks drink every day and a little treat, or I can decide to take that same money and put it into my investment piggy bank and then let that money start working for me. It's just easier to do the Starbucks thing. So we have to have what we call delayed gratification. Please write that down. Delayed gratification. And we have to have something called emotional management. We get ourselves in trouble in all areas of our lives, especially our finances, because we're not very good managers of our emotions. This is the same reason why, trust me, the organization I built that's doing millions of dollars in revenue, the reason why we're able to do that is because so many people get themselves in trouble with being able to control their behaviors when it comes to food and nutrition. Okay. If they had emotional management, then I wouldn't even have an organization. But they get stressed, right? They eat and drink stuff when they're happy that they're not supposed to, and when they're sad and when they're not supposed to, and when they've had a long day and when they're not supposed to, and at the end of the night when they're not supposed to. All of this stuff comes down to managing emotions, and most of us aren't very good with it. So in order to live below your means, which is step number two, is you're going to have to become different. And that's part of the mindset that I'm getting into. You will have to choose to be different. You will have to step out from the crowd and from the bunch. You will have to now decide to become a lion and not a sheep. You're going to have to not care about what people are doing and what they're saying or what they're thinking or where they're going or what parties they're going to or trips, like, or what they're drinking or what they're eating. Like, you have to be different. Like, that's the bottom line. Is you're going to have to make a decision to freaking be different. You can't spend like they spend. You can't go where they go. Okay, you can't have the toys that they have. You can't buy the boat. You can't buy the freaking jet. You can't buy the shoes. You can't buy the freaking clothes that you don't need. You can't be eating out all the time. Yeah, but my girlfriends are, I don't care. You have to choose to be different. Like, that's the only way that's going to happen. You're going to have to break out of normalcy. That's part of the mindset. I'm not even trying to get there yet. I'm just trying to tell you, it's, listen to me, the things that you want to do is rare. Write that down. Rare. Rare. It's rare. It's extremely rare. Being fit is rare. Okay? Having millions is rare. Right? Not having a ton of debt, believe it or not, is rare. It's rare. It's unusual. So what I'm asking you to do is decide to become rare. And if you walk down the street and you're just like everybody else, you got the big bellies and you got the big debt and you got all that stuff. What you're doing is you're doing what most other people do. And most other people don't have the financial future that you want to create for yourself. So you have to decide to be rare. Like, I would even get a tattoo on my neck that just says rare, so you can remind yourself that I can't be doing what other people do. I can't be sleeping in like other people sleep in. I can't be buying stuff like other people buy stuff. I can't. Why? Because I want to be rare. I have to exercise delayed gratification. I have to give up what looks good right now in this moment. This cheesecake looks good right now in this moment, but I have to give that up so that I can go up and I can elevate and I can have something great for later. So I'm going to give up what looks good right now so that I can have greatness later. So when you ask me, Jamil, how were you in 2013? You were broke, and by 2000, by late 2018, you you had a net worth of $1 million. How I did that was I decided to be rare. I decided to be rare, like super rare. And there's some things that come with being rare. You might lose some relationships, you might lose some friends, you might have some people that don't understand, but that's part of the mindset. Part of the mindset is, I don't care, I am going to do this. Part of the mindset is, you can't be blaming people anymore. Listen, I had already, up until that point, I got married in 2009. Immediately in 2009, I started blaming my wife for like everything. It took me basically to like 2014, 2015 to stop blaming and to take ownership and to take responsibility and to say, if it's to be, it's up to me. Write that down. That's a bar. If it's to be, it's up to me. I'm working with some clients right now, and my buddy came to me. Now, my buddy makes $200,000 a year, and his wife is a stay-at-home mom, and he hired me to help them not only, increase their finances, but now we've created a whole new business for his wife. But he came to me because he was stuck in blame. He was stuck in victimization, right? His wife was the reason as to why they were struggling so much financially. So he was playing this role of, of the victim, and he's looking for a villain. And I told him, listen, the the biggest problem you have right now isn't her, it's your mentality of victimization. So if you want to move out of this situation, you got to stop blaming. You need to learn how to become a leader. First, become a leader of yourself. Second, become a leader of your family and become a leader of your household. I told him running his household was no different than the CEO that ran the company. What, I'm going to blame the marketing department? I'm going to blame the sales department? I'm going to blame HR? I'm going to blame operations? I'm the CEO of the company, so the buck stops here. I'm the CEO of the house. I'm the CEO of the family. So if it's not going well, guess whose fault it is? And that was hard for him. But that's the mindset. I'm not putting this off on anybody else or anything else. I am going to do it. I am going to be wealthy. I am going to level up. I am going to get out of this debt. I'm not staying here. I will freaking rather die than stay here. You feel it? Do you feel it? Do you feel that? Do you feel it? Like, I had someone ask me a question earlier, and they were like, if you go on my Facebook, I put up a question. I have a private group, by the way, called The Difference. If you want to get in it, then it should be in the show notes. But just drop me a comment. I'll make sure to send you the link. But basically, I said, what problems do you guys have? Like, what are the big problems that you guys have? What are the big financial challenges? What are your challenges with building your businesses? Like, I'm gonna do videos every single day, just solving people's problems. And believe it or not, I had like 100 or something people engage and tell me what their problems were. And you know, a couple of the questions were like, if people are on a fixed income, how do they afford X, Y, and Z? And I was driving to yoga a little bit earlier, and I go, I think my whole mission is to help people so that by the time they are on a fixed income, that they're making more than they've ever made before. Let me just say that again. Like, by the time they retire and they're on a fixed income, they're making more than they ever have before. See, one of the big problems is like in our society is teaching us to basically strategically be poorer in retirement than we were in our working age. It should not be that way at all. It should be the other way around. When you retire, you should on a monthly basis and annually basis be making way more than you did when you were working. Way more. And if that's not happening, then something has gone wrong. We haven't spent enough time investing. Like right now in the markets, let's just say, I just want to show you real fast. Oh, my phone is right here. If you guys go to investing calculator, what up, Joe? My guy, come on, man. Love my guy. If you guys go to an investing calculator right now and just type this in. So I have about 2.5 million dollars in the market right now, right? And we have, we have our real estate. We got the thing. We got the businesses. We got the real estate. We got our investments in the market. All the stuff I'm going to tell you guys about. We have equity in other businesses. As I've changed my sort of mindset on investing over the years, and I'll kind of take you through that journey. But all I want you to do is this, right? So I'm 43 years old. Let's just say that when I'm 65, I decide I don't want to work anymore, right? I don't want to work. So all I want you to do is just open up an investing calculator and just put like 2.5 million. I guess that's, let's just say, but I'm 43. Let's just say retirement, which is a social construct, by the way. It's mindset. It's just mindset type stuff. Okay. So let's just say I got 22 years of retirement. So put 2.5 million in there. Let that grow for 22 years. On average, let it grow for at 10% interest rate, and don't introduce any new money to that over the next 22 years. And what you'll find is probably that 2.5 million is going to grow to probably somewhere around 25, 27 million. Okay. So if I'm 65 and just in my portfolio in the markets, there's 25, 27 million, then, and I cipher off 5% of that every single year, 4 to 5%, then that's probably going to give me an annual income of what, $800,000 a year. So all I'm trying to say is like in your retirement age, we shouldn't be struggling on these things that we call fixed incomes. Does that make sense? And if we are, it's because some things have gone wrong and we haven't been focused, but that's why we're here. So, foundation number one is pay yourself first. I talked to you about that. Number two is live below your means. Number three is figure out ways to make your money work for you. Basically, that investing piggy bank. We have to take that money that's in that investing piggy bank and we have to find out how to make that money work for you. Now, the path for me was once I'll tell you the path for me. At first, when I was young, I had a lot of friends hitting me up with life insurance stuff, right? Like I was still in junior college at Mount San Antonio College in Walnut, California. And I was a freshman, and one of my buddies had just graduated from college, and he got a job with like New York Life or something like that. And he hit me up, and he was like, "Bro, you need life insurance. Like your money will grow." I had no idea what I was doing. I was playing football and serving tables, but he was so persuasive that I opened up like a whole life insurance policy, and I think I was dedicating like $100 a month to that thing, right? And so that was like the first thing that I ever had that supposedly was going to help me make my money work for me. And then my that same buddy came back and he was like, "Bro, you're only 19, 20 years old. Do you have a Roth IRA?" I was like, "What is that?" He was like, "Man, don't even worry about it. You just need it. Time is your best friend right now. You're only 20 years old. So I opened up a Roth RIA. In fact, I opened that up with a different friend that worked at New York. No, New York. Not the first guy was at New York Life. The second person was at like Washington Mutual or something like that. I forget the name of the company. But so anyway, I opened up a Roth IRA. Now that Roth IRA actually performed really, really well. The problem was I wasn't smart enough to know that the Roth IRA that he put me in was wrapped around with some very, very expensive annuity that cost me an arm and a leg, but I didn't even know that until somebody pointed that out years down the line. I just didn't know, right? I didn't know that they basically had sold me a bill of goods. Like, I didn't know. I didn't know what to look for. He said to make my money work for me, I needed a Roth IRA, which I actually agree with, just not with an expensive, insurance policy wrapped around it. But you don't know what you don't know. And then once I launched my organization and I incorporated my company, Healthy Habits with Us, I wanted to start paying myself and my wife. And they said, if you want to minimize your taxes, then you should start maxing out your 401k. So fine, we started the 401k thing. And then I had a friend that was in real estate investing and she worked with out of state real estate investors. And so I started watching what she was doing. I started strategizing. Hey, I'm going to start buying up rental property. So after a couple years of watching her maneuver, and we started getting into the real estate game and making our money work for us. And then from there, I had an opportunity to start lending money to small business owners. So I started figuring out how to make my money work for me. And then we became an accredited investor. And I was like, well, this is cool, but why don't I start getting involved in larger syndications, and why don't I just start investing into actually businesses themselves? And so we started doing the angel investing thing. And then I started, you see what I'm saying? So basically there's so many different ways to have your money work for you. And that's why I started with that foundation, right? The savings piggy bank, the investing piggy bank, the tithing or charity piggy bank, because money is going to fill up in this investing piggy bank. Thanks for the thumbs up and everything. Money's going to fill up in this investing piggy bank, and you're going to have to work with someone or work with yourself or come to this channel like this, and I'll start to tell you what we do with our money. But you're going to have money that's built up here, and you're going to have to figure out, where do I want to allocate this money so that it starts working for me? Okay. One easy way to have your money work for you isn't even in the investing piggy bank, but it's in the savings piggy bank. So this money that's accumulating in the savings piggy bank, you want to put that into a high yield savings account. Okay, so these savings account will give you 3% on your money, 4% on your money, 5% on your money. And there's lots of different ones that are out there. Amex has a high interest rate savings account right now. And they probably give you 4.5% on your savings, which is really good, right? So now you're already having your money working for you. While you sleep, Amex is paying you 4% on your money. Capital One has a high interest bank account that you can use. They probably pay 4.5%. My wife and I use a bank called Four Bright Bank. They pay us 5.3% on our savings. And I have a ton of different accounts with a ton of savings. We have a rainy day fund savings account, which there's probably like a couple 100,000 in that. There's a savings account to where I just hold money so that if I find good real estate deals, I can buy them. There's a couple 100,000 in that. There's a savings account that I just hold money so when the market starts to fall, I can go in and buy more stocks, right? I can go in and buy more of the S&P 500. I can go buy more Nvidia. I can go invest more for my kids, right? But I don't want to do it while the market is high. I want to do it when the market starts to correct itself. So I got probably 300,000 in that savings account, right? And then there's another savings account for my wife Amanda, which if you guys follow me on Instagram, I encourage you to. That account is called a no questions asked account. And that's an account, a savings account where she can basically go in there, use that money for whatever she wants to. She didn't have to ask any questions. She basically do whatever she wants. She wants to go buy a car, she can go do it. If she wants to go to Jamaica with her girlfriends, she can go do it. If she wants to bounce out to Europe right now, she can go do it. But that's a no questions asked account. So I have probably 7 different savings accounts that are all accruing 5.3% on that money. And so if you have $300,000 in a savings account and you're getting 5% at that, then every month you're getting thousands of dollars for basically not doing anything. You just have your money sitting there. So even if you don't start investing right now, have your money in a high interest yield savings account so that your money can start working for you. But where you're really going to, like how I went from being broke to a millionaire in 6.5 years, wasn't just for me working and building an organization, building a business. No, it was for me exercising a ton of delayed gratification and saying, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to try to invest as much money as possible. And then I've been really fortunate from the time I started investing in 2013, the market basically has been a bull market, right? With some corrections here and there. But we've had excellent interest rates, and the stock market has gone up pretty much every single year with a couple corrections. Now, what I would tell you is when the corrections happen, that's when you want to take this money that's in this investing piggy bank, and that's when you want to actually invest more, whether there's a correction in real estate or there's a correction in the market. 2022, there was a massive correction in um, my portfolio in the markets. We probably lost $600,000 on paper, right? And you guys are like, "What? You're crazy." The year before that, though, we made 600,000, right? In a year. The next year, in 2022, we lost that much. Now, when the market went down in 2022, guess what I did? I took that money that was in these savings accounts, right? And what I did was I invested probably $300,000 that year. Now, what's happened in 2023, you guys, the freaking market went up like this again. And when I bought all of those stocks on sale for dirt cheap in 2022, guess what happened in 2023? And guess what's happening now in 2024? So the way you really start to build wealth quickly is you have to invest this money because you're going to start to get bigger returns on average than you will even with the money that you put into the high interest savings account. Does that make sense? So we talked about paying yourself first. We talked about getting lean in your spending and living below your means. We talked about making your money work for you. Number 4 is don't lose money, which means is don't get swayed by all these sexy investing opportunities, and they are all out there, especially as you start to utilize these foundations and you start to have more money. I'm telling you, everybody and their mamas are going to come to you and tell you about their amazing idea or this amazing stock or this amazing company or this amazing something else, and they're going to tell you it's going to go to the moon and it's going to look sexy or it's going to be this amazing type of insurance or there I'm telling you it's going to be all of these things. And I know it from and I know it right here in my heart because I've fallen for them. Like I've literally have fallen for some of these things. But if you want to build wealth, don't get bogged down with the sexy. Go slow, invest in the things that you know, or invest in things that historically has gone up. Like they're going to tell you about the crypto and the and the Ethereum and the this and the that, man, it's risky. And so you want to minimize your risk, and you don't want to lose money. You want to have this money make little money kids, and then you want those money kids to make money grandkids for you, and then you want those money grandkids to make money great grandkids for you, and then you want them, like, you need this principle, this pot of money right here, to be making a ton of money for you even when you are asleep. Let me see, I'll bring up, let's see how much I've made just today in some of my accounts. Would you guys like to see that? Is this helpful, by the way? I love doing these lives, man. I just told myself the other day, I said, I'm just gonna outwork the freaking internet. Like right now, nobody is on. And I'm gonna say it, two people are on right now. In a year, my goal is to have 2,000 people on here. And the way we're going to do is I'm going to help you guys so much. I'm going to give you so much game. I'm not going to lie to you at all. And I'm going to tell you step by step from experience how to really level up. And you're going to like it so much that you're going to start sharing it and telling people to come check out my channel. And you're going to say, this guy is a guy that's actually done it. Freaking a decade ago, he was broke. And he's just not telling me some stuff that he heard off of a CD. He's telling me stuff that he's actually has accomplished. And I have great respect for someone like that. And I want to listen to someone like that. And then once I start bringing my wife on here, she's so much better looking than me. Then you guys are going to show up just because you want to see her. So here's just one of my accounts. Okay. And if you look at the bottom, if you look right here, okay, it says today, just in this account, we've made $9,224 today. That's just in this one account. Now, I have barely done anything today. I woke up, I got my son and my daughter up, dropped off my oldest boy at school, went to yoga, did a little bit of content down by the beach, um, came back here. I'm doing this. And my wife and I are going to go do date night tonight. So you're telling me, so what I'm telling you is I haven't done anything really today. And just in this account alone, we've made nearly $10,000 today. Do you know how long it takes someone to make $10,000? But I'm not doing it. The money that I put away is doing it. Does that make sense? That's just that one account. That's just that one account. Do you know how many brokerage accounts we have? This is just one. So I would say just today, from everything that we have, we've probably made additional 20,000, but I haven't done anything. Does that make sense? So that's how I told you in this, you don't want to lose this principle. You want to put this principle to work for you, because the faster you put it to work for you, the faster that principal is going to have principal kids and principal grandkids, and you want all of that money to be working for you. So you don't want to lose money. That's number 4. Number 5 is pay off debt. And this is something that most people run into, but what I will tell you is, I told you about the savings piggy bank, the investing piggy bank, the giving piggy bank. When it's time to pay off debt, don't worry about investing right now. Utilize all the money that's in this investing piggy bank to start paying off debt. Does that make sense? So I have a whole strategy on that. If you have questions, ask me. Number 6, own your own home. Um, there's some controversy around this. What isn't controversial is the majority. Remember, I told you that book, The Millionaire Next Door? The majority of those millionaires started to build their own personal net worth through real estate, starting with their own personal home. Does this make sense? So I will tell you too, the first house that we bought for my family, I think we paid $446,000 for that house, and that was in 2015. Today, that house is worth nearly $900,000. Okay, and we have tenants in there that are great tenants, and we haven't had to pay our mortgage, taxes, and insurance on that thing in such a long time because our tenants are in there. But 446,000 we spent, and now it is estimated value is nearly 900,000. You guys, that's damn near 400,000, 500,000 in equity in the last, what's that, 9 years? That we did nothing. Like, it's not because I'm smart, right? It's because I bought the house. So it increases my net worth by nearly 500,000, but I haven't done anything. Does that make sense? So number six, own your own home. Number seven is protect your future. Just a couple ideas for how to protect your future. One, part of this foundation of building wealth, and then I'll get into the mindset. I've already given you some game with the mindset, but foundation is a mentor told me years ago. Some of you guys may have heard of him. His name's Bishop T.D. Jakes. So it was probably 10 years ago or so. He said, Jamil, there's an old person inside of you that's praying you make the right decisions today. Let me say that again. There's an old person inside of you that's praying that you make the right decisions today. And what dawned on me was he wasn't just talking about my finances, but he was talking about everything. See, I'm 43. 65-year-old Jamil is praying that I eat healthy today, that I put the right stuff in my body today. He's praying that I have some alone time, that I prayed today, that I meditated today. He's praying that I move my body today, that I lifted some weights today, that I ingested some clean protein today, that I have my amino acids today. He's praying, that guy, 65 years old, is praying that I go on a date night with my wife tonight. He's praying that I make the right decisions. He's praying that I stay committed to doing these Facebook Lives or these YouTube Lives where I only got two people that's on. Do you know how long it's been since I've done a live of anything and there's only been two people that's on? That can mess with a brother's mind, right? But I'm not going to stop doing it. Why? Because I know my investment into this healthy activity is going to give me a return, a large return, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now. So my 60, and I know what's going to come with that. What's going to come with that is I'm going to be able to touch a lot of people's lives. I'm going to be able to affect a lot of people's lives. Some of you guys are going to become personal clients of mine. Obviously, YouTube is going to start compensating me for this. Like there's going to be in that all of that stuff, that mental, that emotional, that spiritual, all of those investments are going to have a return to my 65-year-old self. So he's praying that I do the right things today. What he's also praying is that I protect my future for him. And part of protecting my future for him is making sure that I have all of my insurances, that I have my home insurance, that I have renter's insurance, that I have life insurance, that I have health insurance, that I have dental insurance, right? That I have a HSA account. Why? Because he's hoping, he's praying that I have an estate plan for my family, a will and trust. He's praying that I have a no a death playbook or something should happen to me playbook. If you don't know what that is, follow me over on Instagram at the real Jamil Frazier. But the if something should happen to me playbook is something that I came up with a couple years back because a lot of my clients, actually my health and wellness clients, they were one of the reasons why they have put on so much weight is because they had lost a husband. And when they lost a husband, they didn't just go through the grief of losing the husband. They went through the trauma of trying to figure out what steps to take after that dude died. So now you can imagine that they are in they're somber. They have this deep, terrible grief that's happening, and now they're trying to look for the bank accounts and then investment accounts, and are we involved in this business, and what's the password for this, and who do I call, do we have life insurance, who's the life insurance agent, like who's our attorney, what did you have over here, did you have money underneath the mattress, did you have money in this account? And I saw them going through that, and I was like, dude, watching them suffer from not knowing the steps to take once this dude had died was harder than watching them grieve from the actual death itself. It was like experiencing two deaths at once. And so I said, okay, I'm going to create a document for my wife and my family. So, should something happen to me, then she knows step by step what to do. She knows who to call. She knows what accounts we have. She knows what investings we have. She knows how to run our businesses. She knows, she just has a playbook, right? Step one, step two, step three, step four. I play football, right? So we're going to run this play and then run this play, then run this play. So she has all that. So that's all part of protecting your future. And part of protecting your future, if you have a family like me, is having a family credo. One of the most important things for me to protect, let me just lean in really fast so you can hear my heart on this. One of the most important things for me to protect is my legacy and my family's philosophies, how we go about looking at the world and impacting the world. So that's what a family credo is. So we have something called the Frazier philosophies, and what it does, outside of them reading the Bible, outside of them reading these books, they read our Frazier philosophy so they know how we do things. How do we show up in the world? What do we do with our money? So some of our Frazier philosophies are, we always, underline always, we always do more than what's expected. Always. Okay. So that means in their schoolwork, they do more than what's expected. And when it's time to work out, they do more than what's expected. If they're freaking washing dishes, they're going to do more than what's expected. My 5-year-old can come in here right now and I can tell him to do 10 push ups. I guarantee he'll do at least 11. Why? Because we always do more than what's expected. Another Fraser philosophy is, we always leave people and places better than how we found them. Even right now, I promise you, I'm going to leave you better than how I found you. Why? Because it's just one of my Fraser philosophies. It's just what we do. When people gravitate towards us and they're in our aura, they are going to become better, whether they want to or not. It doesn't even have to be a goal of theirs. It's just gonna happen. And we could be walking down the street and there's a piece of trash on the floor. It's probably going to get picked up. Why? Because we leave people, places, and things better than how we found them. We want to be an asset to every environment that we come into. So that's part of our family credo that's really important to me. I want to protect that. So I have that mechanism in place for our family. Does this make sense? I don't know if can you guys chat on this? If you got on late, my mom sent me a message earlier today, because my first live ever was yesterday, and she sent me a message, and she was just like, she was like, "Sweetie, we can't chat with you." Um, she says, "I'm watching your YouTube video from a day ago. You need to turn on the comment sections and basically your notifications. So let me know if you're able to chat with me. I don't know if it's on." So number 8 is invest in yourself. Some ideas on how to do that is, man, leaders are readers. Leaders are readers. So I had a stint in there to where over a 3-month time period, I probably read like 60, 70 books. Okay. So how do you start investing in yourself? Man, get a reading plan. Start reading financial literature, start reading financial content. Go pick up my book, The Richest Man in Direct Sales. Start with that one. Start with The Richest Man in Babylon. Start with The Millionaire Next Door. Start with The Millionaire Mind. Start with these books. Start with Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Start with, you know, start reading, invest in yourself, go to seminars. We recommend investing 10% of your annual income with going to seminars, whether that's financial seminars or personal development seminars or real estate seminars. Just start investing into yourself. If you have a relationship or you're married, invest in that relationship or that marriage. If you have kids, invest in your kids, invest in your spirituality, invest in meditating, invest in praying, invest in business seminars. If you're a business person, I can't tell you, already this year I've been all over the United States for just seminars. I've been to Vegas with my mastermind group over there. I've been to Atlanta several times. I've been to freaking, where else have I gone? I've been up in Fresno. I've been in the central coast of California. Like, I've been all over the place just for seminars, right? And these are things that usually I have to pay to go to. And so you say, yeah, that's easy for you to do now, Jamil. No, that's how this has happened. Is I started investing in myself and going to these seminars when I didn't even have the money, right? I would have to find the money. But that's part of that. That is part of the mindset that will set you apart. Is you have to be willing to take those risks in yourself so that you can get those returns. Okay. We already talked about investing into, your insurances, into, your Roth IRAs, into low cost mutual funds, which I really like, into S&P 500, into those sorts of things. But you definitely want to invest in yourself. Couple ideas on mindset, and then we are out of here. This is crazy. I haven't this is I used to, when I was building my coaching organization, I would do hour long trainings like this every single day. And I did that probably for 10 years, right? But this is a new platform, and I'm so excited to be able to partner with you guys in this way and build some trust, though, too. But I forgot how much it does take a certain amount of energy to do this. And it's a little wow to do it when you're just kind of talking to yourself. Usually I'm on Zooms and I get to see other people's faces and stuff like that. But this is a little wow because I cannot see you, and without you commenting and talking to me, I really don't know if anyone's there. And this thing is live even when I'm off, so I really don't know who views it. Like, there's no personal connection, I guess is what I'm saying. And I've been used to for a decade doing hour-long trainings, but I could see all the people. In fact, I got Zoom when nobody knew about Zoom. Like, I've been having Zoom since 2000 and 2012 or something. I think I had one of their original first accounts. Same thing with LinkedIn. I got LinkedIn in basically 2005 or something like that, because I was in inside sales recruiting. And so I was finding candidates for the companies that we were recruiting for. And so it's just so funny to see these platforms go, like grow so much and elevate so much. It's been really fruitful. Let's talk about some mindset stuff. Um, my first question is, do you want to get better in your finances? Do you want to build wealth? Do you want to move into financial abundance? Like, do you want to? Because if you don't want to, there's no point, right? There's no point of kidding yourself. There's no point of watching this content. There's no point of going and looking at these books. Like, if you don't want to, then there's really no point. Here's the second part of mindset. If you don't want to more than you want some other things, there's also no point. Like, if you don't want to save and invest your money more than you want to get your hair done, there's no point. Because we write this down. There's something called competing values. Competing values. Okay? There has to be a trade-off. There's always a trade-off. And when we have competing values, we have nothing but frustration and a lack of action. So if I have two competing values, meaning I have two things that I want to be financially secure. I want to level up financially. I want to have investments that's paying me $10,000 a day, right? Like I just showed you. I want all that stuff. But I also want the brand new car. I also want to get my hair done. I also want to get my nails done. I also want to go, spend $10 a day at Starbucks. I also want to not level up my skill set at the current job that I have. I also want to sleep in. Now, what I have is competing values because I see you, Joe. You feel me though? Because I have this want right here, which is I want to make $10,000 a month, but I also have this want right here is when I come home, I might want to veg out and watch Netflix and all the stuff and not learn new skills. So I got this one and I have this one, and basically you're always able to see which one wins. Financially, I may not be able to see it, but I can definitely see where people have competing values in the way that they look and how fit they are and how in shape they are. Okay? Because they might want to be at a healthy weight, they might want to be fit, they might want to have some lean muscle, but they also want the Heineken at the end of the day. They want the Budweiser. They want to veg out. They want to not. They want to live in a little bit more comfort. They might want to sleep a little bit more. They may not want to have proper nutrition. They don't want to hit the gym. Now I have competing values. I want this, but I also want this. The question is, which one do I want more? If I want this one more, what you're going to see is a beer belly. You're going to see people who are sluggish. You're going to see people who are taking naps. You're going to see people who start to have high blood pressure and high cholesterol and all that stuff. Why? Because they might really want to be healthy. They might really want to be at a healthy weight. They might really want to have muscle, but they just want this more. And now, because they have competing values, they are going to be fat and overweight and obese and sluggish and all the stuff because they want this more. They want this, they just want this more. Same thing that comes with making more money and building wealth. What do you want more? We all want stuff. What do you want more is what you're going to have to answer, right? Like, I'm telling you, anyone, even if you don't build a business, even if you don't start your own organization, if you don't do any of that stuff, all of us can make more money. And how do I know? Because with my financial clients, one of my steps, I have a 17-step process. And like step number 4 is to show them how to start earning an additional $1,000 to $3,000 a month. Now, the easiest way to show somebody how to earn more is to lower their expenses. So if they're spending $5,000 a month, you just lower it to $3,000 a month, and voila, you just made an extra $2,000 a month. Like, that's the easiest way. But also to expand your income, all you have to do is expand 3 areas. Just 3. The first area is you have to expand your mindset. The second area is you have to expand your skill sets. The third area is you have to expand your action. And action always comes down to how many or how much. Okay? Oh my gosh, I'm giving game right now. So let's just say your mindset, first and foremost. Let's just say I was working for somebody and I wanted them to pay me more. So I got to start thinking the way that they think. I got to start thinking the way that the boss thinks, or the owner thinks, or the CEO thinks. And the one thing they're thinking is, how can I bring more value and revenue into this organization? And how can I have less problems? So if I want them to pay me more, my mindset has got to change and start thinking like them. How can I help them solve more problems? And how can I help them bring in more revenue? Okay? How can I? So now that I'm thinking this way, now all I got to do is go to them and say, Mr. Bossman, here's what I want to do. I want to make your life so stinking easy that any problem you have, I want to help you solve it. I'm going to show up earlier. I'm going to have a great attitude. I'm going to have a great smile on my face. I'm going to give a great handshake. Now I'm getting into skills, by the way. Let me hold off on those skills and just stay with mindset, okay? The mindset, though, is I'm going to outwork every single person over here. I'm going to take my bosses, all their problems away, and I'm going to tell them to give it to me. I want a plan on how to elevate in this organization. Okay, and I want to show them a plan and how the things that I'm going to do is going to bring more value and more money into this company. Just from doing that, I don't care if you work at McDonald's or you work at Boeing, you are going to get a raise over a certain amount of time. Okay, and that's just with mindset. Now let's talk about skill set. We all can get better with whatever it is that we do to make money. All of us. We just have to practice more. Okay, so that goes into skill set. Some of the easiest ways to get a raise or to get a client or a customer is just develop interpersonal skills. Do you know how weird people are? People are not great with people. I've done trainings in freaking St. Louis, in Atlanta, in Orlando, in Miami, in Naples, in Dallas, in Nashville, all over the place, to people on just how to have good people skills. This, do you know if you just had general people skills, you'd be able to make more money? And when I talk about people skills, I mean like lean in when you're talking to people. Give a firm handshake. I want you to do an experiment. The next 10 people you shake hands with, see how they shake your hand. Are they going to give you a firm grip and look you in the eye? Are they going to give you this little noodle, wet noodle kind of handshake, look down at the ground, be all weird, right? Don't have great posture. They don't mirror you. Your voice inflection goes up, there goes down, there should be going up as well. Like there's just general skills that you can have for dealing with people, right? Smile, laugh, be agreeable. That's one of them. Do you know if you were just more agreeable with your leadership or your bosses and you just made them feel good? That alone would get you an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month over time, right? So skill set. The other one is action. How many, how much? Show up earlier. How much earlier? You determine it. If you're supposed to make 10 calls a day, make 20 calls a day, right? If you're supposed to follow up with 10 clients that day, follow up with 20. This is just action. Just outwork the people that are around you, and you're going to win. You're going to make more. I promise you. I promise you. It's just how things go, right? It's called the law of compensation. So focus on those three things, and you are going to make more. Now, I told you, building wealth isn't is a wholly different skill set than making money. Anybody can make money. Building wealth is a completely different skill set. Making money, keeping money, growing money, three completely different skill sets. Almost everybody that you know makes money, but 70% of our population right now lives paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because they don't know how to keep the money and they don't know how to grow the money. But damn near everybody makes money. So we have to figure out how to make that money work for us. Okay, so that's mindset. So I talk about all that in competing values because the next mindset part is just your ability to be disciplined, to stay focused. And if you don't really want it and want it more, then you're not going to be disciplined. There's nothing to talk about. Okay. The next thing is just your um, so I got discipline on here. We talked about that. Talked about being hyper focused. I want to tell you one quick story. I asked my beautiful wife to get engaged July 4th, 2008. Immediately, we started looking for venues and we started planning the wedding. We set the wedding for September 2009. So that gave us about a year and a couple months, and we determined we were going to need about $30,000 for this wedding. So what we did was we said, okay, we got about 14 months. Can we save about $2,000 a month over the next 14 months so that we can have about $30,000 for this wedding? So you know what we did? We got hyper focused. We didn't make a lot of money back then. In 2008, I was working for Johnson and Johnson Pharmaceutical Sales. They gave me a $54,000 base salary plus my bonuses. I was probably making about $70,000 a year. My wife was making about $20,000 a year. So collectively, that's $90,000 a year. After taxes, though, is probably closer to what, 70, 75,000. So I mean, that's still pretty good. That's not terrible. That's not terrible. But what we did is we got hyper focused. Hyper focused. So I said, I'm gonna save 2,000, you save, or I'm gonna save 1,000, you save 1,000, whatever it was. And guess what? When it was time for the wedding, we had the money. Now I think we only had saved like 25,000 or something like that. And then we had this amazing blessing from Amanda's father and mother to where they gave us an additional, I don't remember how much it was, but I know I felt honored. I really did. I felt honored. We drove up to Lakewood, California, met up with her dad off of the 91 freeway, and yeah, he wrote us a check, man. I don't know where he got the money from. He may have just had it. I hope he didn't take it out of his 401k, but he gave us an extra, whatever amount that we needed. The point of the story, though, is we got super focused. In a year, we were able to save $25,000. Now, from 2009, 2010, 11, 12, guess how much we saved? Right? 2009, 10, 11, 12. That's 4 years. So if we were to save the same $25,000, it should be 25, 50, 75, 100. We should have had 100,000 in savings. Guess how much we had over those 4 years? Zero. Why did we only have zero? Because we lost freaking focus. We allow all these other things to start dominating our focus instead of being focused on building wealth for ourselves and our future family. Do you know, if I had $100,000 in just a regular S&P 500 account in 2012, right? And it had been growing from basically 2009. Do you know today what that 100,000 would be worth? That 100,000 would probably be what, 400,000 or 500,000. Do you see the difference? So we could have an additional $400,000 or 500,000 of wealth, but we lost focus. It didn't matter to us. Not more than going on trips and cruises and all this stuff. You see what I'm saying? So focus, super super focus. Um, so we talked about foundations. Okay. So um, one last nugget. If you want to make more, then one of the easiest ways to do that is just figure out how can you impact more people. Money, income comes from people. Your ability to serve more people is where you're going to get the most amount of money. Does this make sense? For example, I wrote these books years ago. Years ago, every single month, I get money deposited into my Think Life is Different bank account because people are still buying these books. All I did was figure out a way to go serve people. Even now, doing this. Eventually, there's going to be a handful of people that are on this that want to join my financial coaching programs. And it's because I've decided to serve people this way. So if you ever, one of my financial coaching clients right now, they came to me because they wanted to, you know, um, build wealth. But what's happened now is we've cleaned up all of their personal finances and all that stuff. But you remember I told you like step number 4 in my process was to help people develop at least an additional $1,000 a month. Well, I told her to come up with some business ideas. She did. We chose one of those ideas, and now we have a whole freaking company for her. And what she's doing is she's serving people in her excellence, right? Like in the space that she feels passionate about. And so now we've built a whole company around it. So she's going to make more because now she's serving more people. So making money, most people do that. If you want to make more of it, then utilize those 3 skill sets that I talked about: your mindset, your skill sets, your actions. Building wealth isn't necessarily correlated with how much you make, it's about how much you keep and what you do with that money that you keep. Keeping it comes down to emotional management. Okay? I'm just telling you. Keeping it comes down to delayed gratification and emotional management. Most people are emotionally mismanaged. They mismanage their emotions, so they spend more than they should be spending because they don't know the difference between a need and a want. Okay? A lot of stuff you want, but you don't need. So I would start getting rid of the stuff that you're spending money on that you want, but you do not need. And then building the wealth really comes down to time and how long can I have this money really work for me and my family. So I hope that that was helpful. If so, go on and give a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, please share it with other people. And I got some other great videos that's on here. And if you're not part of, if you're not following me on Instagram, please go on and follow me on Instagram at the real Jamil Frazier. If you're not already in my private, my private community group, then let me know. Shoot me a message, leave a comment here. We'll make sure to get you added. And if you're not in my newsletter, then go on and drop a note here too, and we'll make sure to get you in that so you can get my fire emails that I send out as well, just dropping more content and knowledge. Love you guys. Until tomorrow, see you soon.